President Franklin Delano Roosevelt once said, quote, "The ultimate rulers of our democracy are not the president, senators, and congressmen and government officials, but the voters of this country." People are in charge. We're just hard hands. We've got lots of great players back in our home states. We're the employees, and it's the people in our states that decide who they're going to elect, unelect, and give us directions to what they think we should do. I sit before you today on behalf of those voters in my state, nearly 1 million Montanans. Those are the folks I work for, as well as over 1.7 million Americans we all serve who've signed those petitions over there that you referred to. They've signed that petition calling for a constitutional amendment. One of the amendments that, some kind of amendment that this committee is now considering at this moment. That's 1.7 million signatures. Those are mothers, fathers, employers, veterans, school teachers. They're Americans. We are sent here to serve. I must say, as a Montanan, this issue is deeply personal to me, and let me tell you why. At the top of our state capitol building in Helena, Montana, sits a beautiful copper dome. Nearly a century ago, this copper dome wasn't just for decoration. It was a symbol of what we call Montana, known in other parts of the country as a symbol for the copper barons. Who are they? They were the three major folks, extremely wealthy, who fought for and controlled the production of copper in Butte, Montana. Butte, Montana was known as the richest hill on earth. One of them was a fellow named William Clark. William Clark is the largest benefactor to the Corcoran Gallery here in Washington, D.C. In today's dollars, he'd rival Warren Buffett or Bill Gates. He was that wealthy. While miners were working underground, what was William Clark doing? William Clark was buying elections with his money. In fact, it was common for corporations in our state, probably other states, to buy elections with their money. Remember, back then, we were elected by state legislatures, not by the people. Legislatures decided who was going to serve in the United States Senate. In 1899, William Clark bribed the Montana State Legislature into appointing him to serve here in the U.S. Senate. Well, the Rules Committee had the goods on him because he actually threw, or his people did, bundles of dollars over the transom at hotels where the state legislators were staying, passing laws in the state of Montana. And in fact, he's quoted as saying, "I never bought a man who wasn't for sale." The Rules Committee sat down and met. What are they going to do with this guy, William Clark, who clearly bribed his way in the United States Senate? Well, William Clark's no dummy. While the Rules Committee was meeting, and they had the goods on him, this is back around 1900, what did he do? He used his money to do something pretty clever. He arranged to have the governor of the state of Montana leave Montana and go to San Francisco. Sure, he bought him off. And then he, William Clark, resigned. He resigned his position in the U.S. Senate and arranged to have the lieutenant governor, then acting governor, appoint him to the U.S. Senate. And that's how William Clark became a senator. He bought his way into the United States Senate. That led to the 17th Amendment. That incident and the scandal in Montana led to the passage of the 17th Amendment. And we in Montana also responded by passing laws prohibiting corporations from contributing to elections. We were so outraged with what William Clark and his people did in the state of Montana. And as you said, Citizens United overturned that, made it possible for Montana to enforce this law. It's deeply embedded in our culture. And the recent decision by the court in the aftermath of Citizens United made that very clear. We in Montana cannot proceed. So I believe, as you believe, that the solution here is a constitutional amendment. That's about the only way we could solve this. Restore power, put power back in the hands of the people, not in the hands of the corporations like William Clark exercised back then. There's a 2012 poll which says that 63% of Americans believe that corporations and unions should not be able to spend unlimited amounts of dollars in elections. And the people we work in, at least my state, I think across the country, agree. Again, the surest way to get the heart of the matter, I think, is a constitutional amendment. In the Federalist Papers, James Madison noted that there should be circumstances when, quote, useful alterations to the Constitution will be suggested by experience. end quote. Still, this is a process that requires significant deliberation. It should, as you've said, Mr. Chairman. You don't just amend the Constitution lightly. And I don't take a proposal to amend the Constitution lightly at all. And I agree with James Madison that we should amend the Constitution only on the occasion of great and extraordinary occasions. This is one of those occasions, as you've said just a few minutes ago. And Congress, I think, owes it to the American people to fully study, discuss, and debate the merits of an amendment. My proposal, and there are many here, my proposal would right the wrong of Citizens United. Simply overturn it. It would restore Congress's and states' ability to regulate political spending by corporations and labor in elections, and then give the people in states like Montana and other states the power to once again say, we're not for sale. It's clear to me that action is needed to restore Americans' faith in our political electoral process, and I urge my colleagues to support me in joining this amendment.